Okay, this should be better. 1080. المشكلة إن بما إني لسه بادئ ستريمينج الفترة دي، فتويتش لسه معتبرني لسه بادئ. تمام، فهو البيت ريت، يعني هو ما بيعملش ترانس كودينج. فلو أنا بعمل ستريم بدقة عالية أو بريزولوشن عالية، عند بعض الناس ده ما بيظهرش. مش عارف ليه بالظبط، بس اللي فاهمه إن لو قللت الريزوليوشن وقللت البيت ريت، التويتش سيرفرز بتشتغل كويس مع الستريم، مش بتدروب الستريم. بس انا مش فاهم ليه عندي مثلا يظهر كويس وعند الناس تانية ما يظهرش، يعني مش متأكد اوي الصراحة. مهم. anyway so okay, so if the screen is black anytime, please let me know. Yeah, just say something kind of. Alright, force immutability of source destination action. Also, there is something that we what was that? There is something actually we missed, which is the conditions. So if you look at the rule, so the rule has source of event, destination, and there is an action, and there is a condition. There is something that you should use to filter events, right? So you should be able to say, yeah, if the minute is not divisible by 2, is not even, then we are not going to print it. So if it's divisible by 3, yeah, sure, let's print it. If it's divisible by 5, sure. So you need to find a way that you are getting an event from the source. You need to find a way to just funnel some of them. Okay, so this is the idea. Yeah, this is the idea. So how to do that with this field that we didn't use yet? Yeah. So we need to find a generic way in order for events to define their fields, their attributes, and then a way to have a string that can filter them. Because the other way is to have some kind of a structure that filter them, right? A structure, or you just define a function that takes the event and return boolean or something. This is also possible, but that means you are going to write functions in your data structure. So this is not going to be a data structure anymore. It's going to be data structure plus functions. So it's code and data. And what we're trying to do here is to define the rules as data. No? So you can serialize and deserialize. If you add a function, you lose, right? You lose. You can't really serialize a function or deserialize a function. So there are two ways I think we can do that. There is a way where you can say if string, and this will be something that looks like that. Something that looks like that. If it's time, for example, like seconds, is more than 10. Yeah, so let's do it. Let's, so if the seconds is greater than 10, then let's print it to standard out. Otherwise, it's gonna be skipped. And one rule can print seconds that are larger than, like greater than 10, and another one less than 10. So you can print it from like 1 to 9, and then from 11 to 20, for example. So it could be a string, and you parse the string, and you get like an abstract syntax tree out of it, and you substitute every like second and minutes and any of that, substitute them with their values somehow from the input event. So the input event can define maybe a map from string to the value. So it says seconds 1, hours 12, days and months and blah blah. And then you can use them in the condition here, and then something that parse the condition and substitute the values and evaluate that and return true or false. This works, and there is a function, there is a package that I wrote before. It's called bool expression. Select GitHub. Bool expression, and this package, it does exactly that. So it takes an expression that looks like this, parse it, and so it takes the expression and symbols, a list of symbols, and the symbol is a key and a value. The value can be like literal value, like a number, a string, or a function that return the value. So a function that return integer, a function that return a string, or a function that return the value and the error. So it will use the value if there is no error and so on. And then you can say evaluate expression symbol, and it will return true or false. So what this does, that it parses the string into abstract syntax tree, and the parser, no, not this one, internal. The parser looks like this. Parser looks like this. Yeah. So expression has sub-expressions, and you can use parentheses, and you can do comparison, like left and the operand and right side. And you can compare variable to variables, and you can use and or. You can compare to float, int, string, boolean, and you can use variables anywhere. You can compare with doesn't equal or greater than and equal, less than or equal, and so on. So this parses the string, makes abstract syntax tree out of it, and then the evaluator goes over the tree and resolve every symbol to its value, and returns the result in the end. And the result will be either true or false. Yeah. So you can have something like that. See that it's an expression. You can parse it, and then you can use this parsed one to evaluate multiple maps at the same time. Yeah, so you don't have to parse it multiple times. You can parse, get this abstract syntax tree, and then you can evaluate this tree with multiple symbol maps. Yeah. Also, it supports what's it called? Circuit breaking. So circuit breaking. So if this and this, right? So if this is false, it's not going to evaluate the rest. So it's gonna like circuit break, or if the first one is true, it doesn't have to execute the rest. So it skips the rest. Yeah. So I really like this package. I used it and developed it, and it's really fast. Um, yeah, yeah. So we can use that. We can use bool expression. But let's see. Let's see, because here it allocates memory, right? When it parses, it allocates memory. When I try to evaluate stuff, it allocates memory. So we may need to take a deeper look at that. So this is the first solution. The second solution is to have if as an interface. We call it condition, for example, condition in. And this condition in is an interface again. And you can evaluate the event and return Boolean and an error. And then your rules can use the condition. And your condition can be actually like you can have it, so you can have multiple implementation of the condition. One that is always false, one that is always true, one that is evaluating this string, another one that is an inline function. You just write the function and it will be like in the condition implementation, and it will call it. And yeah, so you can have it as a string or have something as an interface, and then that string will be one of them. I am leaning toward the extensibility, because if I do this, that means you are not limited to the string implementation. You're not limited to that. Yeah. There is a little problem. You know that you have one event and there are like 100 rules that needs to be executed. If you only have the first solution, you can, because the first solution means you're going to extract attributes from the input, and evaluate the condition based on that. And because the rules can have the same attributes shared between them, like the seconds, you may, how do I describe that? Okay, so if your implementation is generic, it's harder for you to group the shared execution path outside of the rules, because now you don't know if the rule is what the rule is using, like which implementation of the condition. So it will be harder for you to group anything and make it shared between all the rules. Like if you're executing a function, or if you're trying to memorize, now it will depend on the condition implementation, right? So if it's a string, it's gonna evaluate it somehow. If it's another thing like a function, it's gonna evaluate it somehow. So you can't share memory between them. You can share parts of the thing. So it can execute the same code over and over again, or it's gonna be a little inefficient. So that is the problem with going with an interface, that it will be hard to have a little optimization, but also it closes the door on having a better implementation completely. So we may maybe we can get an interface like this, but have the interface somehow communicate cache. So my problem is that if the rule has just this interface, the rules can't communicate any shared execution or shared evaluation between the conditions, and every condition will be isolated by itself. It doesn't know about the other. So if one evaluated like a really like heavy query on the database, for example, the other one doesn't know. So it has to be somewhere that both of them can access. That could be in the event. Maybe it could be in the event. The event itself, when it's evaluating functions, maybe it should be memoizing the output of the function. Right? So it depends on the event. That's what we are saying. Yeah, depends on the event. But it is a little better because now you can have multiple ways to define a condition. So I think I can go with the interface and then find a way to make it a little optimal. So let's just move it. So, source condition. Let's have that condition evaluates input events to determine if they should be processed. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And that means we need conditions. It keep. Oh, sorry. And bool. Okay, so now we can implement something like import, and we import expression. And import expression. يعني it's not really, but not really. So actually we need it to be a string actually. So you need this type to be a string, and then you need to implement what is the value, the interface called again? What did we? Condition, and this condition is eval. Yeah. So yeah, you parse. If error, return false. Otherwise, yeah, that's t any t, and it's like b bool expression of t, and here you have t and string e, string b. There you go. Go get. I really need to find a better way to find out that this black screen thing is happening. Does that mean it was happening yesterday, or it happens to some people and not the others? Depends on the geographical location. Oh, thank you for the follow. Nice. Thanks. All right. Okay, so this evaluates a string based on the event. So the event has to tell me what are the attributes in it, right? So if I'm evaluating a string that has attributes and values, now I need to get that from the event. How do I do this? This parse also doesn't cache, does it? It does not. Also, if it's empty, then there's no condition, so it's always true. Okay, now we need to evaluate any, right? That's what it needs. And eval the expression, right? It was like that. Completely forgot. How was it? Yeah, eval the expression. That's simple. Cannot use vars, blah blah blah. The value in argument. Okay. Yeah, I think it should be like bool new symbols cache. Yeah, so this type reps a map like that, and they cache any value that you evaluate from it. So you can define here a function, and this function is going to be executed once. So even if there are like 100 of rules that evaluated this function, it's going to be evaluated once, and all of them will use the next the cached value. Yeah. Variable struct as string. String. So was it like eval expression? Was it? Like it's a parsed expression against me. Yeah, it is. Yeah, this is the part that we need to find out how we implement it, because you will have a map which is attribute to value, right? But now you need to get this list of attributes from the input and the value. So you have an event that has fields and stuff. Now you need to accumulate all of that. So how do you get this? One way is to force the event to implement an interface, and this is what I did before. So I did that. Type attributable, and it's an interface. The interface returns this function. We can give it a context in case, no, just to propagate it in case it's querying the database or something. It can yeah. Or would it leak the context? I don't know. It may leak the context, because the problem is that if this is cached anyway, and this here, it wouldn't be any, it would be attributable, right? And here t, and you would do this event attributes with the context. That's it. And now if you use this condition, you are forced that your events implement this interface, and it's the interface that you can get from the event, and you can evaluate it. I feel there is a problem. So this cache lives only here, right? So if you tried, so that means if there is a function in the attributes, it's going to be executed once with every rule. Right? Because this condition is going to be isolated in every rule, and each one of them is going to get the attributes, make a cache, evaluate the expression, and exit, and even the parsing. So first, we need the parsing to be cached. We shouldn't be parsing the same condition string over and over again. And conditions also are unique. So it doesn't matter where you define the conditions. They resolve if the same string resolve to the same abstract syntax tree every time. So it doesn't matter where you are using this library, it's gonna resolve to the same abstract syntax tree. Okay, now we can do that. Can do this. All right. Okay. If anybody sees a black screen, please let me know, because we really need to solve this problem if it's happening. All right. So this is a rubber. Okay, so that means you can. Okay, so first in the rules, when you are executing the rule, here, so you don't process unless the condition is true, right? So should process if error doesn't equal nil, condition evaluation failed. Otherwise, if we shouldn't process, should return nil. But here is a problem, that here we are processing the next source. This is the next rule for the same source. So this should be localized. This part here should be localized. So it should be R, and we should call something like run the rule. Tx and event. Okay, and here error processing event and rule source blah blah blah. And here in the rule you should have this, right? Return. So the idea is that here this is only for this rule, and then the caller here is trying to execute it for this rule, and if it fails, stops. Otherwise it continue to the next source, the next rule for the same source. So now you are executing all the rules. If one of the rules failed, you are stopping, and we'll try to improve that in the future. We will need to find a way for one rule to fail and the others to continue to execute. And that will help us also in the parallel execution, but one by one, step by step, shred by shred. Because if we did everything at once, it's gonna be hard. So make int. Can't use blah 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 constant of type. Yeah, just a second. Where is that? Main 24. Main 24. Yeah, conditions Boolean expression. Time. Yeah, you're pushing it. You know, you're pushing it. It's not really times in a second. Equal less than 3. Less than 3. So 1 and 2. And this will be very similar, but larger than 3. And the time need to implement that. This is what we enforced. Yeah, so time need to implement way for us to get the seconds, minute, hour, exactly. So when you do that, this function return this map, and the condition will be able to use it. Sub have attributes map name, want context context, yeah, because we don't need it, but sure. The linter looks fine. The linter potential net here nil away fired, that's good. Engine 23 potential nil panic detector observed nil flow from source to the reference point. Returned as a result 0 from interface method get previous. Hey, why I just found it now? Okay, engine 23. Is it this? Really? Is it? Engine 22. Potential nil panic detected. Observe nil flow from source to the reference point. So, yeah, I don't get it. So the tail would get previous. This could be. Ah, okay. Yeah, we need to protect that. If tail doesn't equal nil. Yeah, we need to protect it. So, got it. All right. We have 72. We have 72 issues. Oh shit. White space above this. Ah, wait. The tests. I'm sorry, but I need to. I think I should exclude the tests from the linters completely. So, Golang CI linter exclude file pattern, right? Because the tests, I don't want to hold it to the same scrutiny as the implementation itself. Golang. Let's see. Documentation. Getting started. Exclude. Configuration. File. Exclude. Settings exclusion. Exclusions, right? Okay. So here and Strict sources are excluded by strictly following the Go generated file convention that have lines matching the following blah blah blah. Disable generated file exclusion. Like sources are excluded if they contain line like auto-generated. Strict, leave it strict. Redefine exception none. Reset, mint, exec configuration per path. Exclude some linters from running. Yeah. Anything that has test, please. Yeah. And I need to understand why it wasn't showing any errors before. Can't load config error in exclude rule 0, at least 2 of text source path linter should be set. Text source path. So path, right? Path. So it's like path, not rules, it's path. Holy moly, alright, okay. Mesh. Comment should end in period. Condition evaluates and cool. Condition evaluate should end in period. Sure, why not? And then bool condition, bool expression. So first should have a package comment. Right. Package conditions provide a set of features to evaluate conditions based on event attribute. Based on event. Right. Okay. Exported type attributable should have sure. Sure, man. Typically is an interface that events can implement to provide attributes for condition evaluation. Yeah. And exported method bullet eval should have comment or unexported. Line 16. No, it's an interface implementation. Right. Cool. A little alarming that this one error is like, because I expect more to be output. So if I do that, really? So everything is working as expected? The tests? The tests are not working as expected. Invalid memory address or null pointer dereference. Yeah, okay, and null away didn't catch it. That's odd. But anyway, where is it? The callback, of course. It's rule to go 96. 96. No, it went on to 100. 113. 113. Aha. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so if r is nil, then doesn't equal nil. Okay, let's see. Damn. So var should process. So if it's nil, then should process is true, right? We should process. So if you don't have a condition, that means you want to execute without a condition. There's no filter. Otherwise, if yeah, you can do that, right? So you can do it that way. Declared but not used. Yeah. Yeah. So if the f is nil, then it should be processed. Otherwise, it should be evaluated. If we shouldn't process, return null. So run the tests, and the tests pass. Nice. But they pass with 96%. Because of course we need unit tests for that. Okay. All right. So we wrote a small condition. I'm thinking about this condition. It was way simpler when it was just a string, right? And it was only one implementation, because there was like a central place where I evaluate, like I get the attributes, I create this cached attributes, like attributes cached thing, and then it's used for all the roles. So all of them were using the same instance of cached attributes values. So now we don't have this central place, so it's really hard to cache stuff. What would you recommend for an intermediate software engineer learning Golang? And would you recommend searching for a job at a foreign country like Germany, or seek a master's and search for a job after abroad? Well, what do you recommend for an intermediate software engineer learning Golang? Okay, what do I recommend? Well, that's if you're intermediate already, so you know the language. If you're intermediate, then you know the basics. If you're intermediate, then you know the data structures and the algorithms, right? And what you lack is maybe the experience, the things that makes you take responsibility of a whole project. And that's the difference usually between mid-level engineer and a senior. That a senior, you trust him to be responsible for designing, implementing, maintaining a system. And the difference is that the middle mid-level engineers, still you need really to like direct him, and you need to like tell him about improvements and stuff that needs to be, and like stop him from overcomplicating stuff or hurting himself with a migration or so. So I think what you need is to read something about the architecture of the microservices, for example. Um, you need to learn more, I think, about the software philosophy, as in there's a book called um, Philosophy of Software Engineering, right? Was this? Yeah, it's this one. I have it right there in my library. So that's a small and nice book. So that's one that I recommend. It's the antithesis of clean code, I think. So this is one. The other thing is that there are things that you don't really learn from books, and you learn it by observing people working and falling into like issues and incidents and stuff. And this is what builds your experience. This is what gets invested in you as an engineer. You know, when you make a problem and you cost the company like couple thousand euros, this is an investment in you. You should learn from that. And you can learn from that if you want from on-call duty. So if you are already working in a company, look for the on-call duty and sign up for that if you are not already. The other thing is you need to learn to help the other teams and help other engineers around you. A senior is expected also to always like observe like what his teammates are working on, and if they are stuck somewhere, if they need help, if they're in the wrong direction, you need to like nudge them right or left. So you need to start to do that in order to gain that experience. So if you are a Go engineer already, you need to invest in this other part. Other things is you should also start to learn some advanced topics. And the advanced topics for me, you should learn p-proofing. You need to learn how to profile programs and learn how to optimize it. And for optimizing, Casey Maratori, performance aware programming. So Casey has this Substack, and he has a lot of videos on it, and he has a YouTube channel that he always try to talk about the performance and how you can really like craft the software in a way that takes advantage of the hardware. And he admit that it's optimizing software is not really his main job, right? But with that, you can still learn a lot from his lectures and videos. And his lectures is also more than enough if you are working as a Go programmer and you are already like a mid-level. Don't forget making the stream record public, please. Yeah, the stream record is public, right? I think it's always public. So if I remember correctly, um, if I remember, if you go to the channel, right, and yeah, so all of that is public, right? It's not only me seeing that. Or am I? Content. all of that is public, I think so. Yeah, exactly. They are published. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Yeah, because I'm also still new to Twitch, so I'm really not sure if I'm doing it right. So yeah, Casey has a lot of nice videos on YouTube, and he also have YouTube, and Casey has yeah, he has a lot of talks now, but also he has this channel, Molly Rocket, and in this channel he has a lot of, I think, playlists here. Yeah, performance aware programming. So like, I really highly recommend to watch this one. And there is also this software quality, right? So he also has this like handmade con, uh, and he and this one, and he got a lot of people from the game industry, and it was really eye-opening how they think. It's a very different mentality than the software engineers that are working on web stuff. And also Casey was teaching other stuff in the beginning, like he was teaching memory, he has lectures, OpenGL, entity system, and he was building games from the beginning using C on Windows. So his videos are really nice. The other one I would recommend you watch his talks is um, Jay. What's his name? Sorry, it's Jay. Jonathan Blow. Jonathan. So he is a really like successful game designer, and he made a like really nice games, and all of them has like nice ideas and intricate puzzles, and it really has nice gameplay. It's not like copy paste like, the rest of the games. And he has a lot of nice talks. You just look for something like the collapse of civilization. It will give you an idea, and it kind of it will shift your mentality of how you should be thinking about software. So I really highly recommend that you also watch Jonathan's videos and lectures. So yeah, rants and stuff. These are good. So the idea is that you need to come out of the mentality of a web developer into more of a like a high performance um, software engineer, that you can give him a service and it can serve like 10,000, 100,000 requests per second without breaking a sweat. So how would you write a service like that? How would you build a system like that? And it's not easy. It's not easy because most of the mentality that we have is a mentality of abundance. We always think that resources are finite or infinite. So it's really good to see people that are trying to squeeze every ounce of performance from hardware. When you when you see them talking and trying to reason about code and trying to think about what to do and what to not to do, it will open your eye a little bit. For one thing, when you are creating the loop for your game, one of the things in the back end is like web, as a web developers, we don't really think about memory allocations. You can allocate memory here or there, and it's fine. And you can pull something from memory, and you can get something from the heap. You know, like it doesn't matter heap or stack or how many cache lines, or the layout of your structures or your data. But if you're in a game, this is really a tight loop. You have to process the whole frame in under like, what was it, 30 milliseconds or like 3 milliseconds. So you can get this 60 FPS. And if you're trying to get better performance, you have to like squeeze more. So you really are tight on budget. So there is also another way to think about how you can structure a program, because there's this like object-oriented programming that we learned everywhere, and that sucks. It's good for some places, but it really overstayed its welcome for too long. You can learn about data-oriented programming, and yeah, watch this video also. This guy was working for Naughty Dog, I believe, and then he also worked for Unity, the game engine. And the way he talks about designing and structuring your software is really like, it's very different, and it's not the same as everybody think about it. So it's good to see how other people are thinking about software. So this is the other thing, is you need to also widen your view about how to write software and how to structure it. Another thing is also you need to open up to some other languages, because there are ideas in other languages that could be useful in yours. You know, like Go is a really simple language. So you need to see also how other languages are doing stuff. So you wouldn't be pigeonholed in the language. So check Scala, check Clojure, Haskell, Elixir maybe, Rust, C++. I like C++. It's like a big bowl of mud, but it's a really good language. So yeah, so you need to think about more advanced topics: performance optimizations, structuring your program, the interactions between your program and the other programs, you know, the interfaces, the metrics that you build, the alerts. So you need to come out of the process more into the system and what's around the process and how it's relation to the other services. Yeah. So this is something maybe you can learn next. All right. Okay, so we look here, all right. So what I need to look for is, how does it look like? Does it look like a mess? Does it look like it's all right? Like how is it? Okay, and also main go. Okay, so if I run this, it should print the first, the second, and the fourth and the fifth, and it should skip the third. Make run. So the first, second. Okay. The third. Wait, what? Ah, yeah, because the seconds is the because it looks for this one, right? It looks for the third. Yeah. Okay. Okay, let me maybe remove the timeout, or make it like 5 minute. Okay, then run it. So what I expect is that when the seconds here are really like, okay, I can wait. So when this spins back to the beginning of the minute, it should print the 0, 1, 2 and the skip 3. And also, as you see, every second is printed once. Before, every second was printed twice, and this is because only one rule is implementing them, which is the second rule. Yeah, 1, 2, 4. It skipped the 3. Skip the 3. Exactly. Yeah. So this is what happens here, is that this ran, this paused for the 0, 1 and 2, and the second one paused for 4, 5, and nothing paused for 3, so they never really get executed. So that's the idea. Force immutability on the source destination action. I need to think about this one. I'm not sure that I should enforce this idea actually. I'm not sure. Needs a bit of thinking. So now we have rules, we have fan out, we have conditions. I'm really thinking about this condition, and I feel like I made a mistake of having it as an interface. If it's a string, I can have more tighter control on it over all the rules. So if it's a string and you force the event to implement this interface, because if it's a string, that means you are forcing this Boolean expression condition, this one, you're forcing this to be the default behavior. And if you force this to be the default behavior, that means this attributable interface is going to be forced on every input, on every event. So there is no way to get another implementation that doesn't require this interface. Your events, all of them, has to have this function, even if they don't have filters, if you don't want to filter them. Right. Yeah, something also to learn. If you're a Go programmer, that means most probably you're working with web services. You may need also to learn about how the system works, about how Linux works, about the Linux programming interface. There is a really nice book. It's like a little big, but Linux programming interface. But it's a really nice book, and it's like a reference for anything you want to program, anything you want you want to access in the Linux kernel. This is what you will learn. So you read it like you read every page of it, or read it like side to side, and you will get an idea about what are the things that the kernel is offering for you. It assumes you are developing in C, but nothing that stops you from porting this into Go. So when you look at like sys calls and stuff in the Go standard library, you know what's going on. Usually you don't really need all of that when you're working every day, but the understanding of the system is what will allow you to spot issues and find your like more so it opens doors for you to kind of find other solutions for your for your problems that you didn't know about it before. Yeah, your awareness of these interfaces is what can unlock like a whole different solution for you. So what do we have on Steam? We have update on Steam. So what's your opinion on pursuing a master's degree in the West EU after finishing bachelor immediately? I honestly am not sure. So I know there are positions that require master's degree, like a machine learning scientist or engineer. There are things that, yeah, if you have masters, you would be way more useful in this position, and there are companies that looks for that. So unless you're pursuing something like that, it wouldn't be worth it until you really want something like this, right? Otherwise, I think it would be a waste of time, to be honest. Yeah. So yeah, there was also another question about what would you recommend searching for a job at a foreign country like Germany or seeking a master's in session in Germany? So, yeah, masters or you just go directly to the market. Okay, so honestly, my choice around what 2011 was it, that I don't want to be a TA. I don't want to be a teacher assistant. I think I had the opportunity, but I didn't really like neither the way the academia works nor the compensation. So I can't spend more years of my life just sitting there trying to get my master's. It's not economically viable for me. It will hold me back. So my choice was that no, I would go for the market. And I didn't regret it. It was a good choice, and I think I don't know, like I think I didn't lose anything about it by not having like a master's and doctorate. Yeah. So this is the thing. I think it's up to you to decide for yourself if you really want to dedicate yourself for more of science, um, or you want to go out and get money. You have a point, I think about it more as a bridge to get a visa and get out of Egypt, because getting an offer when you're in Egypt outside is kind of hard, to be honest. Not every company is willing to pay for your sponsorship and relocation. Yeah, it's getting harder nowadays, but I'm not sure if you spend. Yeah, so you want to study maybe in Germany, and after that you get a job. Well, yeah, that's a good way to do it, I guess. Mm, yeah, this is your only way. Yeah, that's a good point. But also keep in mind that if you study in Germany, I think you study full time. So you are not allowed to get a job full time. You're allowed to have only a part-time job, as I remember. So that means you have to finish study. Like it's either or. You have to like either work full time or study full time. You can't have both. So you may need to have a little research about the restrictions. What's this game? It looks nice, but looks like turn-based. What do I have in my library? I haven't really played on this PC for too long now. Yeah, I got this game and it was really slow on my machine. Also because this is Linux, so I'm not sure because it's Linux or because the machine is outdated. Okay, so what can I play here? I never finished Celeste. It was really hard for me. I finished the Cult of the Lamb. That was a nice game. It was really beautiful. It was cute. Cuphead was really hard. I also didn't finish Cuphead. Dark Side, I finished it. Dead Cells. I can't say I finished it. I don't even remember. Destiny 2. That's a nice one. Doom Eternal. Skyrim. Nobody finishes Skyrim, I think. Elite Dangerous. Also really slow on this machine. Factorio. Yeah. Can you install that? Mm-hmm. Maybe you can play Factorio. I don't know how can I change the stream title if I want to. You can say an epic gamer. No, not really. I mostly game on my PlayStation. Most of my logged hours are on the PlayStation 5. Because I like the controller more than the keyboard and mouse. Factory is a nice shell game, especially if you didn't add the aliens that always gets aggro when you get more advanced. And it has a lot of good engineering in it to have all of this working in parallel without like stuttering and stuff. It's really impressive. There is another game that I want to understand and play and enjoy, but I can't. Every time I can't. Where was it? What was this game? It was Solaris? Where was that? It's called The Soul. Maybe it's the filter. Let me see. So it was like, how do I? Because I opened it here a couple times, and every time it's hard to finish it. Hard to here. Stellaris. Um, you should be like controlling the humanity or a race and expanding across the universe and the galaxy and stuff. But I don't know, it requires a lot of reading. If you have stream elements or Nightbot, I think you can change it by using this command title. My new yeah. Otherwise, change it from the creator dashboard, stream manager, edit streams. When I do that, it shows up in the next stream, not the current one. So if I do that, right, here, and I change this, something like that, something like that, and I change this, just like here, I noticed that it doesn't change in the current stream. It's like the next one. Okay, that it shows up here, but if I opened Twitch and you go to my channel, oh no, it changed. Oh, okay, thanks. That's nice. All right, let's see. Where is it? Okay, so it's downloading. Here you go. Let's see. Let's see if this really works here. Okay. Brace for impact. I need maybe some music, right? Because this game has music, so maybe I can just... Yeah, I didn't play for ages. Like since 1998. Okay. Yeah, okay. No, let's just take it easy. The tutorial? Should I play the tutorial? Should I? Tutorial Friday. I don't know. No, that's nope. Looks like abandoned. Okay. I wonder what a robotic arm is for. Yeah, I wonder also what the robotic arm is. This machine has run out of fuel. Okay. Open the burners. Left click. Okay. Okay. Put fuel into the burner inserter. Sure. Here. Over on the inserter to see which direction it moves. Can insert items into or unload items from structure beds. All right. Yeah, it moves from here to here. All right. Take all the items from the iron chest. Okay. Can I? Is there like enter or tab or do I have to click? Take all the items from the iron chest. Do I have to drag and drop? Or I didn't play it for like 100 years now. Eco firearm magazine, alright. Footsteps, alright. When enemies are close, you can fire at them by holding spacebar. The enemy closest to the cursor will be shot. Okay. Kill the approaching creatures before they get you. Fire by holding spacebar. Yeah. Second burner inserter is reduced. Rotate the inserter by pressing R. Alright. building scientists are treated before building. Now what? So build the structures, burner, mining drill. Okay. Now I'm lost. Mining drill. Okay. How do I build? Blueprint. Stone furnace, burner, mining drill. So how did I... Don't remember anything. Crafting, okay. So I need 4 burning, mining. Okay, this one. This one I need stone furnace. And the stone furnace I need this. Okay. Okay. Right. So does that mean I can do this and this here? Okay, and I can do this. And an arm. And then a box. Wood. I need wood. Okay, and then I need this here. So yeah, what I'm trying to do is I'm mining that so I can get enough material so I can do more mining drill and the stone furnaces. I think this is the stone furnace. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Okay, and now I can get that. And I need like 5 stone furnaces. 4, okay. Okay, now how do I dismiss this? Okay, now we need a lot of this. Here. Mm-hmm. Does that mean I can just connect this to this? So I need to build another stone furnace. All right, okay. So take this. Another one. Okay, we built it and then the drill. I need another 3. Okay. And right. And I should connect these together. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Iron plate, iron plate. Okay. Okay. They are coming from here, right? Like I need to make this work and this. And I need to make an arm here that knows this stuff here. I have no idea what this is doing. Ah, this is okay. I need what are these called? Burner mining drill. The drill. Let's call it the drill. Of course, of course. Copper plates. Okay, the iron is done. The coal. Coal. Where do I get the coal from? Wait, but this is the coal, right? This is coal, yeah. Here you go. It's really hard to play this game while talking. I mean, what am I even doing here? What am I even doing here? Is that what this game is? It's like a time sink? This is what it is, right? It's just a sink for time, you know, you don't have another good game to play, so you make a factory. Okay, we're trying to make 75 and this is 37. The copper. Where do I get the copper from? There's something here? No. Yeah, we're looking for copper. Copper. Should be around, right? Oh, here it is. So we'll add a miner and a box. So here is a box. And then this arm, which gets your stuff from the box. And then this, where is it? This miner, which you get your stuff from here. And then okay, it's dumb, but anyway. We need to give it fuel. 3. I need to discover electricity, like right now. What is that? Is it broken? Like, no mineral resources. Okay. So it depleted that place. Okay, sure. What is that? What am I doing? I have to turn this like that. Ah, okay. Makes sense. Oh, okay, control and click will autofill it. I'm learning. Okay. Now we need to add a lot of this stuff, right? And yeah, okay. So I can do this. Okay. Iron plate, I think this. Iron plate. Okay. So click. Okay, so control and click will do it. Got it. I need this, I think. Okay. So this is how I make copper plate. So I just smelt it. All right. You know what? I don't like this game, but let me see how far I can go. Let's see. Mm-hmm. All right. So what am I doing exactly? Like, okay, so I got this. The copper is the one that I need, and the coal. Yeah, we don't have enough coal anymore. And we need 75. Hmm. No, I'm not enjoying this. So save it. Wow. Nope, let's look for something else. Let me check. Cuphead, maybe. Gunfire. I didn't play that for too long. It's nice, but it didn't attract me that much. Path of Exile is nice, but also it's dark a bit and it requires a little bit of skill to build the abilities and the gems together, and it was a bit finicky to understand, to be honest. I played New World for a bit. Have a Nice Death, that was a nice one. That's a nice one. But black, too dark, not Not for me, not now. Cuphead is nice. It was a bit hard. Yeah, it was a bit of a challenge, and I just didn't have enough stamina for it. That was a nice one. I was playing that on my Steam Deck before the Steam died. Hmm. Albion. No, I should play on the PlayStation, but I need to find a way to connect the camera to the PlayStation, because if I want to stream from the PlayStation, either I have to connect the PlayStation into capture card into this PC and stream from this PC, but also this camera has to be near the TV, so it's a hot mess. Or I get a PlayStation camera and I use the PlayStation camera and the PlayStation to stream, which I don't think I've seen any Twitch streamer playing on their PlayStation with a camera. I haven't seen that before. Elite Dangerous is really good. Like I logged here 240 to 140 hours, but I think on the PlayStation I logged even more. Elder Scrolls Online here I played it for 100. On the PlayStation I also played it for more than 100. Because I started it again from the beginning. Mm-mm. I like this one. I finished it. It was pretty smooth. This one is nice. It gets old a little bit, and this Rogue Legacy, that's a nice one too. It has some nice ideas. We Happy Few was, I don't know. It's the idea is nice. When I played it, I didn't enjoy it. Felt too twisted. Limbo. I think I didn't finish Limbo. Did I? Did I finish it? No, I don't think I finished it. Marvel Rivals, didn't really get into it. Hey, Magic. I didn't get into Stardew Valley also. Oh, I was playing that when I was young. It's really nice. When I found it and it was really cheap, I just got it. I also have here Robin Hood. Here. I played that also when I was young. And I found it also for I think like €5 or €3 or something like that. Like let me see, it's the store page with how much is it now? Like 8? The entire collection or is only this one? No, this one. Oh, yeah, it's 8. So what's new on Steam? What's new here? What's going on? Is that you are selling drugs? I think that's, yeah, I think you're selling drugs. Wow. Warhammer. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Euro Truck Simulator. Wuthering Waves. I've seen this game everywhere. Forza Horizon 6. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think I need the better graphics card. Because mine is a bit old. It's like 2060. I have two of them, but that doesn't make them like powerful. Hades. I finished Hades, the first one. I didn't get the second one because, yeah, my Steam Deck just died, so I gave up on it. Yeah, okay. All right. Now let's get back to programming. Let's get back to I need to have these as presets somehow. Mhm. Yeah, nice. We have like 52 followers now, and our goal is 60. So we are missing only 8. Nice. All right. Okay, let's look at that. Okay. So what we are trying to do is this project is try to add all the guardrails and things that allow us to develop it while keeping it on track when it comes to quality. So no dead code, no allocations as much as we can. The cyclomatic complexity is low. Okay. So if we get the core right, we can build on it. And when you build on it, you can extend it as much as you can, right? So the idea is get the core and have some kind of extensibility points, extension points. So you can add more features on it, and the features should all have the same interface. So kind of a small core and extend it with as many features as you want. So that's what I'm trying to do. I need to reduce the font. Sorry for the psychedelic for the psychedelic resizing, but it's yeah. Okay. So what I was saying is that maybe the idea of having this condition as an interface, maybe it's a mistake. But if you do that, you will have to, if you force the implementation of that condition, you will have to force the interface on the event. Is there a way to leave the condition as it is? But uh, but find a way to like use this cache with the event so that you create this cache once. And what I mean is that the condition, is there a way that, okay, so we parse the string, this is fine, like we can do that. It's like a var and then parsed, and we can make it like a sync map, and then you can do that. And here parse dot get restore get or store, yeah, and yeah. So get or store, and this returns what does it return? Has no field or method. Really? Parse dot load or store. Is there then the actual and loaded? The actual is nil and loaded is wait. You know, that's the problem, like load or store. Because we need also like to return an error. Right? So here and loaded boolean. So loaded and what's the return names? Actual and loaded. Alright. So if loaded is an error, we can't really evaluate it. If it's an expression, then yeah. Wait, what are you talking about? Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Exactly. So you don't need to do that, you don't need this, you don't need to evaluate the expression. Exactly. So if loaded, you do that. So if it's not loaded, you see, that's the problem. Like function. So maybe we can just parse and it gives you the Boolean expression or an error. Exactly. And what you can do is this. So if not loaded, wait, if it's not loaded, then you couldn't really even parse it, right? Yeah, you don't need that. So if it's not loaded, then if it's not loaded, then that you couldn't parse it, right? Will load or store returns the existing value of the key if present, otherwise it stores and returns the given value. Load result is true if the value was loaded, false if it's stored. So it should be always there, right? So it should be always returned. It can never be like this actual can never be anything else. What do you mean incompatible assignment? Expression eval expression incompatible. Why? So cannot use expression variable of this pointer as Boolean expression. Oh, okay, I see. This expression is what exactly? It's a structure. Yeah. So I'm not sure. Like when you parse, it doesn't give you a pointer, give you the expression right away. Yeah. There's an error, you return the error, otherwise return the result. It's really interesting that this microphone can work for that long. Oops. Interface conversion is function interface, not Boolean expression. Seriously? Wait, it's what? It's a what? Interface conversion interface is a function that returns an interface, not Boolean expression. Wallahi. Getting how did that end up here? How did this end up in this? Boolean expression, yeah. And this is an error. So it's either an error or Boolean expression. Yeah, and I think even if I try to solve this, I'm not gonna use this global variable because global variable. If I do this, make lint, it should complain, right? Yeah, it's complaining about everything. Yeah, pass this global variable, type assertion, blah blah. Yeah, it's a mess. So we can't do that. We cannot do this. I need to find a way. My problem is here. So either this is a condition, an interface, or a string. If I decided that would be a string, then I have more control over the implementation, but less flexibility for the user that uses this. They have to use this like string thing. So they can't come up with a better implementation, that's what I'm saying. So is there okay, so and what I'm trying to find is an efficient way to filter events, right? Hi, hello, Mayura ASM. Okay, hello, how's it going? I need to get another screen, another monitor, just to have it here, like a large monitor, or here. Because like I'm looking at the chat on the phone, and it's like I can spot the chat, after a while. I don't spot it right away, so it's a bit hard. Goal started successfully. Since like forever. Golang, yeah, Golang is pretty easy because you can learn it in a weekend. The language itself is not hard at all. Let me do this because it gives a nice ambient sound. So Golang itself, there is this Go by example, where it can tell you about the language, and this is actually like half of it is just a standard library. You don't really need to know or learn the standard library, so you can just learn first the language itself, you know, the syntax and the features, which is just the first maybe part here, like channels select, non-blocking channels, closing channel, yeah, and that's it. The timer, worker pool, wait groups, rate limit, all of that is a standard library. Panic and differ should have been at the top and recovering. String function standard library, like, yeah. So this is by example. And here there is, where was it, was this one? Tutorials, no, there was how to write Go. I think it was this one. That one? No, there was this one page that has like the language. It was it was the language in one file. I think it was this effective Go. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's this one. You can go through like the effective Go and it tells you how to write the language, I think. I think there's another page, editor, references, command language. There's the language specification, but yeah, yeah, it's the specification. This is if you want to implement the compiler or something. Yeah. But here you can find a lot of good pages. Organizing the module. And it's a really small language that you can just learn it in a weekend. How to do LOL. This is also, you can go to play.golang.go. Oops. .golang.go, and here is a hello world. So the file will be called like main or whatever, and then this is in any file that will have the main function, and import font, which you can use to print a line, and this is your main function. Like function and main doesn't have any even parameters, it doesn't take any arguments. It's not like C when you get like argc and argv. No, and you just print line, and yeah, that's it. You do also like go run and the file, and it runs. Here, that's the out. And you can have other examples here, like Conway Game of Life. Here, yeah, Fibonacci. Yeah, so you can define function, like a function that is in a function of integer, and yeah, you can have closures and you can pass functions to functions, and it's you can make it functional if you want. I don't know if you're into functional, object oriented, or structural, but Go is mainly structural, it's not object oriented. And it's a really easy language, so whenever you look at code, you more or less know what's going on. Yeah. Yeah. What is it? I mostly program in Java or in C. Yeah. So you'll find that it's very similar to C, but it has a garbage collector. So you don't have to malloc and free, and doesn't have pointer arithmetics. And it has a package manager. Yeah. So you can say that it's kind of a garbage collected version of C. And if you learn Go, you can use something like VLang, which is very similar to Go. it's very similar, but it doesn't have garbage collector. This one. And there is somebody also that made a language called Solode, and it is also very inspired by Go. So if you look at it, it looks like Go. Package main, import, can make a structure, and here's the main. You do whatever you want here. And this is transpiled to C. Yeah. If you want to bring Go to C, you can use libmil. And Go has this like Go keyword which execute this function as a coroutine. So it has a scheduler and it can take this function and schedule it, and you can create as many coroutines as you want, and the scheduler will start to like move between them and change the execution. Anyway, so in C you can take this library and you can also make coroutines, and you can have channels, and you can read and send to channels. It's very interesting. Yeah. But it's a nice language. I use it in my day work, and it's making it simpler to work with people because people can't really get that much creative in it. So you look at the code and instantly you get more or less what's going on. There's not a lot of abstractions in there. If you see a function call, it is a function call. You know? If you see like a plus sign, a minus, division, it is like there is no operator overloading, there is no function overloading or method overloading. So it's really easy to work with it. It's different than Java, and different than I worked also with Scala. I worked with Ruby. It's hard to tell what's going on with these languages. They're just hiding too much. All right. Okay. So here I was trying to contemplate if I should keep this here as an interface, or should I just settle on one implementation in order to be in control of it. So I work on what? I work as a backend engineer. I work for HelloFresh. So yeah, so I work with Go, and I'm responsible for personalizing the menus for everyone, like machine learning models and stuff. It's a lot of traffic, and you are also like front end for a lot of machine learning pipelines. It has a lot of details. It's like a really complex domain. But yeah, that's what I do. Or you are asking what I'm working on in the stream, because this question has two has two meanings, and I'm not sure which one. I answered the first one, which is what I work on in my day job. What I work on here is you can call it a framework that you can define your program logic as rules. So you can say something like that. You can say when an event happens, then you can take some, like, convert it or transform it or do something to it, and then the output, the transformation, should go somewhere, like write it to a database, for example. So you can say when you receive a message from Kafka, you can extract some information from it and convert it to a different structure, and then write it to the database, or write it to a queue, write it to another Kafka topic. Or when you get an HTTP request, then do queries and stuff and return like a structure that has all the data you want, and then you can render it with a template. So it depends really on what is the logic of your program, and you can translate it, kind of organize it into this pattern. So with that, you can have like parallel logic that is very loosely coupled. They don't know about each other, and they react to events. So when you're adding features, you can add the features just, as a rule or couple rules, and you don't have to change existing logic. And the framework is going to interleave them together. So it's going to see, okay, it's from the same source, and it's using the same condition, then it's going to like wrap them together, and then fan out and fan in again, and so on. So we are still in the beginning. We are in the part where we define the rules, we register it, and we try to make it work. So far it works. So far we have like a proof of concept. So is it working still? Yeah, it's now it's failing because I changed something here. So it's working now. So this is like two rules that are listening on, where is it? Yeah, so yeah, there's like timeout. So this is like two rules that listen on the time, and they print the time based on a condition. The GitHub is this one. I didn't pin the GitHub link. Oh, it was in the previous stream. Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, that's what we are working on. It's like it's a business rules engine, if you will. And the idea is that you can have these rules, which is like units of logic that listens on event from a source and then emit an event to a destination system. So you can connect any two systems together with that. And then you can wrap them with more logic. You can wrap them with caching, debouncing, running them twice, throttling. You can add the logging and tracing and monitoring. So if you get the core correct, you can start to wrap it with more logic, and you can have this logic turn on or off based on the rule. So every rule can have this, you can have this orthogonality. You can have all the rules, and you can have all the features, and you can turn it on and off per rule, per feature. And then the system, the engine will handle all of that for you. Yeah, it's a cool idea. So this is like I'm re-implementing it. This is the second time I implemented this kind of pattern, and I'm trying to challenge myself so that when I try to check the compiler optimizations, I shouldn't have escape to the heap. So I shouldn't look here and see, there is a variable that escaped to the heap. That means I have to avoid memory allocations as much as possible, or memory allocations that outlive the caller as much as I can. Otherwise, I lose. And the cyclomatic complexity has to be like under 6, so it's like maximum is 5. So this, for example, I noticed something that sometimes I run the linter and it says, yeah, no errors. Maybe it's my imagination. So rule.go 111. So should process Okay. Okay, maybe I can define this should process as a function, right? So here I can say this should process, and it is this part here. To nil, and here it's like false and then error. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so if it's nil, you do that. Should process. Otherwise, you return that. Yeah. Yeah, because we are wrapping it here, so I can just return it. Yeah. And here I can say good process and error, then I can just do all of that. And if error doesn't end nil, evaluating condition. I can return the error right away. I shouldn't process nil. Does that solve the cyclo? That solves it. That really solved it, really. Okay. Alright. Make test. Tests are passing. Make run. Running for 5 seconds. Nice. Alright. So this is the solve. Right. Okay. So what I'm looking now is that I'm trying to structure all of that and rethink about the condition, because the condition, I said there are two approaches for it. The approach that I took right now, which is an interface, and that allows to have multiple implementation for this kind of conditioning or filtering, you know. So you can filter by the input, you can filter by like maybe system pressure or something. So if your system is pressured too much, then you can just filter out the inputs or something. You can just add a function, you can like have different strategies for how the rule should process or drop events, like preconditions for the rule to run. Oh wow, it's 2 a.m. All right. I think I should finish my stream now. I've been streaming for maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and I also streamed right before it for another 2 hours, I think. Yeah. But still, it's fun to work on this project, so I'm not it's hard to leave. So, so now I need to find a way for this part here to be a little extensible. So I need to find a way to like wrap the condition so you can do stuff before or after the condition or around it, before and after processing, before and after sending to the destination. You know, like wraps for every component or group of the components. So the condition and the action together, you need to wrap them with something, or the action and the destination, you need to wrap them with something, you know. So middlewares for every part of this. Uh-huh. So yeah, so maybe every rule can have a list of I don't know, like wrappers. So wrapper or middlewares, and this list can define where it needs to hook in the system. So you can say in a rule that you want to add a cache. So you can say cache for like 3 weeks, and write the cache only in this case and invalidate the cache in these cases. And then this cache will wrap the logic of the rule. So that would be great. That would be nice. Now I need to just organize this, and I need to solve the condition part. So here, because when I look at the rule, so in cmd main, okay, so to write the condition, either you write it this way or you can write it this way: seconds less than 3. Come on. Yeah. So this looks way better than this. It looks way better. So this is why I'm not sure if I should go with the extensibility part or with the, you know, the more control part. Maybe there is a way to do the first one, but with less clutter. Because the main thing is the conditions. It's like a big word, bool expression, then the generic, and then until you reach the condition, you already walked like a highway of 100 kilometers. So I think all of this should be compressed somehow. Uh, no. So the extensibility is way better than having this string thing. But then I'll have another sub problem where I need to have a shared cache between rules that work on the same event. So if you have a source and 100 rules and you're evaluating something from the event, it should be evaluated only once. So maybe the event should be the one handling that. Yeah, and the event should be handling this by itself. The event should be maybe having some kind of internal cache. Yeah, but you know, if the event didn't need to do that and the framework could provide it, that would be better. But if the framework provided it, I have to limit the extensibility. See the problem there? Mm. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can be creative and try to find another way to do all of that, but It's really, maybe we can find a way to get the attributes from the JSON, like you are serializing the object to JSON, reading the fields with reflections. That reflections are really expensive. So anything that you do to try to reflect on the types or try to be smart at runtime, it's gonna be very expensive. So I need to find a way to have conditions extensible and not expensive in runtime. So let's say I went with that. Okay, then okay, let's improve it step by step. Let's improve it step by step. So let's first, instead of bool expression, let's call it string. Yeah, let's call it string, and then bool expression. This one be like str. There you go. Yeah. So instant cut conditions. Let's call this cons. Right, and conditions here. Conditions, I call it cons. Cons. Okay. And cons. Yeah, maybe. Okay. Oh, really? Okay, here you go. So we cut it down a little bit. We cut it down. Now we have this ugliest time thing. I don't know why Go doesn't have, like, so you told it the type is here, time. So this is the same T, so it should initialize it by itself. So it should know the type when I'm doing that, I guess. The generics look so ugly. So ugly. Hey, can I have a type and embed a string in it? Can I have this like struct? The embed string in that and then post like can I do this and have this like yeah, can I do that? And be can I then cast this to a string? No. Can I do this? Yeah, I can do that. String, okay, okay, okay. And here I can still use cannot convert this untyped string constant to type condition. Why? Maybe I can do this. because a string, because this string is not okay. String is string. So does this work? Are you happy with that? Cannot use b string variable of type string as string variable. Okay. Same untyped string to type blah blah blah. Okay. And this is not possible. Too few values in struct literal. Aha. There are too few values. This is true. But I wanted. This is exactly what I wanted. And I don't want to use initializer. I don't want to use like a new function or something. I just want, just to use the structure as it is. God, I hate that part. So I have to do like that, right? So if condition string, and then the condition and all, from all of that, I just need this. Yeah, no, that's not gonna work. This is not gonna work, no. It looks really ugly. It's a string, and then I can use like another one here. First if, and this is like a bool expression. Okay, yeah, exactly. And this one, it's a fucking string. Exactly, like that was a lot of clutter, and we can just let the user just put the string and we'll take it from here. Yeah. And now, because you got a string and you want to get attributes out of the object, out of the input, you need to find a way to extract it from it, right? So what would be your way to extract that? Are you going to serialize it to JSON, for example? You can serialize it to JSON. So to JSON, and then deserialize it again to a map, and that will give you a map from string to value. You can do that. But serialize and deserialize from JSON, that's horrible. Can you convert the structure into a map from key to value? Is it possible that I can just, if I'm trying to resolve something, like resolve a symbol, I resolve a symbol from the structure? Yeah, but reflections is a bitch. It's gonna cost a lot. Okay, we are onto something here. So it's if string. All right. I will have like 5 minutes of break and then I will be back. I need to learn how to mute this microphone without taking it off. It's really impressive what these microphones can do. 5 minutes and I will be back. Okay, I'm back. Let's see. All right. So the last step we have now is try to implement this with a string. So maybe you just need to get the string, parse it with Boolean expression, and save it here. And this is when you add a rule, I think. So if parsed if is nil, then it's true. Parsed if, when if is empty. Otherwise, I don't know, man. So this expression by default, if you try to evaluate it, if you say eval expression, okay, here e dot x, yeah, now I have to make sure this is valid, because it can panic, right? If you used an expression here that is empty, it can panic here. Okay, so if first if it's nil, then return it true. Otherwise, you'll have to do what? Eval expression, and the expression is r parsed, right? And the symbols is sims, and we are going to do that now. So sims bool expression dot new cached, exactly. So map blah blah blah. So we are going to do this. I'm going to do this, and here is the to do. Fill in the map from the event. Fill in the map from the events. And when do we set that? We set that in the engine file. When you add the rule, you also parse the condition. It's doing a lot of stuff here. Anyway, so if rule, then try to rule.parse if. Yeah, no, I get you. Okay, so parse it if and error, and then you try to parse it like bool expression if, then rule if, yeah, if needed return, otherwise, yeah. Yep, allocation is here. There is an allocation happening here. There will be an allocation. Calm down. We're gonna find a way. We need to find a way to parse this bool expression parse into a variable. That still may need an allocation. Yeah, I don't think I can avoid completely allocation here because I'm parsing a string, so I have to have an allocation. There must be something here that will escape to the heap. Is that the end of the road for me? Let's do it and then check what will be the problem. Okay, and the cyclomatic complexity will be high, I believe. So in the condition, yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, the cyclomatic complexity of the add rule now is high. Yeah. Line contains, yes. Unused foreign context seem to be unused. Consider removing it or renaming it. Rule 130. Rule 137. This one here. Yeah, but I may need it when I'm when I'm trying to fill this. So let's leave it for now. Need to get my dog. تعال يا تيتا. تعال. تعال. تعال هنا. Unused params. Frontal event seems to be unused. Yeah. We will use both of them. The cyclomatic complexity for a function add rule is 6. Yes. Add rule here. Instead of this, let's add to the rule something like parse condition, and it's gonna have this. So if this is empty, then return nil. No need to do anything. If it's not empty, yeah, if it's not empty, you parse it. it's not empty, you parse it and you set it here. Parse condition, and then so here we try to bool parse condition. If error doesn't equal nil, then return the error. Exactly. So maybe this reduces the cyclomatic complexity to 5 back again. Yeah, nice. Nice. Perfect. So we are at a good level, I think, of complexity. Okay. So we parsed the condition. Now we need to evaluate it. So parsing the condition is not the problem. Now we need to check to do this part here. Now I need to get this map. Maybe this map should be an input. Yeah. I think this map should be an input. So instead of this, you are getting the wall expression. This is the expression we need to here. Expression. Wait, no, that's not what I wanted. I wanted this symbol cache, this thing. So this new symbol cache is returning this. And this is also used in eval. Eval, when you're evaluating, you need just symbols, right? And this symbols is an interface. So all you need is symbols. So here, should process. All you need is sims, which is Boolean expression symbols. Yeah. So we deferred it upstream. Anyway, so symbols should process. But the problem is that here we are returning early if there is no condition. But I think we shouldn't have entered in the first place. But anyway, let's leave it there, because if you don't, this function may panic if you did something wrong here or there. So here, you shouldn't even enter here in the first place. Right? And should process shouldn't be the event. Should be sames. And sames should be coming also from upstream. Door expression same. I'm just pushing it up. Should process. Yeah, what's wrong? I don't need the context anymore. And should you go? And run here should also have sims. So I'm just pushing it up until I see where I can. Here is the part. Here's the part. This is the part that I should calculate the samples. This is the part. Yeah. And you push it down. You have the event, you have the symbols. Ah, yeah. Then this callback. Now you need to make the symbols out of the event. If it wasn't passed to you already, right? Because the caller for this is the source. The source. That's gonna be a problem, because if the caller of this function is the source, I can't add another attribute to it, because I need to calculate this attribute myself. I don't want the sources to calculate it. I want to calculate it on my side. So how do I hide this? Okay, so I think this means the start. Yeah, we'll have a callback here. Okay, but I think now we will be having two callbacks. One like that. Which doesn't have any symbols. And another version of it with the symbols. So I think this should be moved to callback with sims. And this will get bool expression symbols. This. Okay. And you're using sims. And this is callback with sims. Alright. And you're passing down sims. Sorry, what? Can it use sims variable of struct as exclamation symbols? Yeah, symbols. Okay, here we'll calculate symbols from the event somehow, and we call it down. So when the source calls the callback, we're going to calculate the attributes, we're going to pass it down. It should calculate the attributes only if there is a condition, right? So var sims, which is boolean expression symbols, and if the rule has a parsed if, then yeah, let's calculate the symbols and pass the symbols, and you will continue to pass it down. No, maybe we can do that. Maybe we can do this. So here, these are the symbols, right? And if parsed expression is nil, it's not nil, come on. If parsed expression is not nil, so we have a condition, and symbols is nil, we are going to calculate it. Right? So when it comes from the source, it's nil. So it continues to be nil. If we have a parsed if we have a parsed if and there is no symbols, we need to calculate it. And then we use it. Yeah. This is, oh, and here we will call with things. So callable actually now need to be with things, or the other way around, like this is thing and bool expression samples. Okay, I think this is the end of the road for me. My dog is calling me to go to sleep, so he already knows it's too late. Right, that was a good session. Thank you very much, and let's do it tomorrow again.